An overflowing tasting table like this one draws a group of women together a few times each year. This one has all of the fall flavors. It's homemade and obviously irresistible. Klaja is the chef and the party planner behind this concept and behind this gorgeous table. It's so wonderful to have you. I'm very rarely speechless, but my jaw is on the floor as my eyes just take in all of this deliciousness. This is amazing.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, you're clearly talented in the baking department, and you have a talent, I know, as well for connecting women, because this idea, it's called a chick chat, as I understand it, and it's more than just a beautiful table. Tell us what you do or what you hope to accomplish with these events.
Yeah, so I actually started Chick Chat 9 years ago when we lived in Texas. We just moved here to Utah a year and a half ago. But 9 years ago, I was going through a really hard time in my life. I was struggling with some infertility issues, and I had just suffered a miscarriage. And so I was in this really dark place, and I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't think anyone would understand, but I just wanted to feel like I wasn't alone. And so I ended up opening up to a couple friends, and ironically, those two friends I opened up to were going through the exact same thing that I was. And it was in that moment that I realized, we got to share our story. It is almost our obligation as women to share our story to help others, and it's also therapeutic for us. So we started Chick Chat, and we had it at my mom's house, and obviously I come from a culinary background,
yes, you
so
do.
I made all kinds of desserts, and each month a different woman would share her story. And it was so impactful in my life and in other women's lives that I knew that coming here a year and a half ago to Utah, I wanted to incorporate it here.
Comparable to maybe a book club where the subject isn't a book necessarily, but it's a person, right?
Yes.
They're getting up and opening up their hearts, making those introductions. We're looking at some photos from a spring event. I know you kind of theme these events according to season.
Yeah.
What's the vibe in that room? Obviously the pretty desserts and the tables set the scene visually, but I imagine there's a pretty connective vibe at work too.
Right, so this actually was April showers bring May flowers. This was our Chick Chat in May, and it was beautiful. You know, I really just wanted an excuse to just go out and buy a bunch of peonies and kind of set the scene from there. And I themed all of our desserts off of flowers. And ironically, we had a wonderful speaker that month talk about her struggle with drug addiction and how she came from kind of a life of addiction. Her family was a bunch of addicts as well, and how she overcame that. And so it was almost like, you know, going through the hard time and coming up, you know.
Symbolic.
Yeah, and so it was a little bit symbolic. So that was a great Chick Chat.
I know we have photos from a summer theme that you hosted as well. Tell us about that event.
So our most recent one in July was summertime desserts, and so I really wanted to make it fun and, you know, think about what are some of the, you know, stereotypical summer desserts. So I'm thinking popsicles, s'mores, pies, and so I just kind of went a little over the top with it, and we had a great time. And then that month, one of the ladies shared about her special needs son and how she's kind of had to overcome obstacles with that.
It sounds like an empowering conversation. What's coming up for Fall Chick Chat? We're kind of getting a preview today, I know, with this gorgeous tablescape.
So fall is here, and so we have all sorts of fall-themed desserts, and, you know, I have pecan pie cake.
This is incredible.
Yeah, so this is a butter pecan cake with pecan pie filling, and I mean, it's just like eating a pecan pie. And so I think of fall pies, I think of beautiful leaf cutouts, but I was always so intimidated to do leaf cutouts. Okay, seriously, this looks maybe a little difficult, but it's not.
Are we sure?
Literally used.
Are we sure?
It's true. I used a roll-out pie crust, got a couple different cookie cutters, baked them in the oven, and I literally just shingled them on the cake with frosting.
Gorgeous.
And so there's that one.
What's happening here? Okay,
so this is a pumpkin snickerdoodle cake, and so it's a pumpkin cake, and it actually has crumbles of snickerdoodle in the layers.
Oh my goodness.
And it's frosted with cream cheese frosting and just topped with some snickerdoodles on top.
And I'm seeing a signature caramel apple.
And the signature caramel
over your left shoulder.
I mean, it's pretty obvious what this one is. I mean, the big honking caramel apples on top doesn't give it away. But this one is a kind of a cinnamon apple cake with a caramel apple filling, frosted in caramel frosting with some toffee, and I just slammed some caramel apples on top.
I love your technical terms. Slammed, shingled, it all just happens in the kitchen.
Serious.
And I'm gathering and gleaning that you get great personal enjoyment and fulfillment from going over the top a little bit and making this an extremely special event. Do you have any hostessing tips for the rest of us, or even table dressing tips that we could maybe pull off to make it look a little bit special if we were to host something like this on our own?
Yeah, so I have maybe 3 tips I could share. One is to kind of have a little bit of symmetry.
Okay.
So if you think about your table kind of divided down the center, you're going to kind of see the same thing on the left as you are the right.
Okay.
And also, a thing that I love to incorporate with all of the Chick Chats is get all of kinds of levels going on. You know, I have height, I have pedestals that aren't, you know, they're all different levels.
Right.
I have, you know, a thing on the table here, a 3-tiered trays on the side.
So break it up.
Yeah, and another thing is to incorporate home decor in your tablescape, so you're not having to buy a bunch of party stuff. All of this, all of these pumpkins, the trays, the vases, they're all from Gatehouse, which is a home decor store in Orem that has amazing and unique finds. And so I just got all of this here, and the good thing is that I can actually use this after the party's over.
Yes.
So it's not just, you know, it's kind of like a double duty kind of thing.
It's not a one and done. Your house now is decorated.
Yeah,
so
you're good to go.
Any food touches that we could take away from your presentation style that might help enhance our own tablescape?
Yeah, so for me, you know, I take what you would think, okay, the pecan pie cake, how do you kick it up a notch? You know, think of the traditional pie crust.
Okay.
You know, I love to just slab things on top of the cake.
There's those technical terms again. I love it.
I feel like it's over the top. And what I also do is with these bigger cakes, I also have smaller cupcake size versions of them over here. So I will kind of make them a little miniature version. And so I like to have that. And at Chick Chat, people like to be able to kind of grab the cupcakes first, and then at the end, when it's kind of over, we cut up the cakes, they send it home, and then their kids and husbands are so happy they went to Chick Chat.
They're fine that the mom checked out.
They're like, go to Chick
evening.
Chat, bring me home cake.
So this sets the scene visually and physically. I'm curious to know how you curate your guests in a way that people are willing and open to crack the hearts apart and share, as you described, on some of those more intimate themes. Is there a hostessing takeaway on that front?
Yeah, so one of the things that has worked really well for us is I'll print off just a list, maybe a 50-question list. You can, you know, find it on Pinterest. And they're all these different questions. You know, where's your favorite restaurant? Where did you grow up? And so when each woman comes through the door, I say, pick a question so that they can start thinking about it.
Okay.
Then after our speaker talks, we go around the room and they kind of answer the questions, and you'll just see all these little light bulbs going off. Wait, you grew up here, or oh, you like to go to this restaurant? And so then after it's over, everyone starts kind of swarming around and developing those relationships, and it's a great facilitator.
Well, I think it sounds like a great event, and you have inspired, I think, other women to, even on a smaller scale, hold something like that on their own. How can we follow along with you in these Chick Chat events?
Yes, so you can follow along with me on my Instagram page at Living Beautifully. There's Utah in the name.
Thanks for embracing our state.
I am so embracing Utah. I love me some Utah.
Okay.
And you can also access my blog through my Instagram page as well. And I'll be having some of the recipes on my blog up soon.
We'll look forward to that and link you over to Ashley's Instagram and blog where you can connect. Thank you so much for the inspiration.
Thank
Ashley,
you.
lovely to meet you.